Hello and welcome to the Creating a Safe School Community for Students information presentation for parents and carers. This session aligns with Brisbane Catholic Education's priority to promote a safeguarding culture in our school and reduce the risks of harm or inappropriate behaviour by staff, other adults towards students. Safeguarding refers to our strategies and practices for preventing harm and abuse and is also what we do to respond to any indicator or incident of harm and abuse. Safeguarding is a shared responsibility, and these slides are about highlighting the important role that you, as parents and carers, play in helping us create a safe school environment. We will be talking about student protection, which can be a very confronting and emotional topic. If this presentation causes you any discomfort, makes you think about a matter, or there is something you'd wish to discuss about a specific student, then please reach out to me, another school leadership team, or a student protection contact at our school. At St. Benedict's, our values are peace, learning, and community. And these values link directly to our responsibility for the safety and well-being of our school community, which is what we are proud of. Together, we are here to achieve this so students can successfully engage in their learning and, with you, we can undertake the important work of teaching, challenging and transforming the leaders of the future. Student protection is an integral to the learning and teaching process. Safety and security are fundamental human rights and needs. These rights and needs underpin student capacity for learning and ultimately enhance their well-being and life opportunities. We take our responsibility to keep students safe very seriously, and one of the ways we do this is by ensuring all school staff receive ongoing training in regards to student protection and the Code of Conduct. In addition to this, all our volunteers and other school personnel are also required to undertake student protection and Code of Conduct training. We all have a responsibility to protect children, and this presentation is to support you to know how you may best do this so we have the safest environment possible at our school. In our school, you can raise any concerns you may have in relation to the behaviour of a parent, carer, other family member or member of the general community, the behaviour of a person the school has engaged, for example, staff member, volunteer, religious clergy or other personnel. All students have the right to expect that schools will protect them from harm. In fulfilling our responsibilities to protect students, we have pastoral and legal obligations. Student protection is about working together. So, as a school, we collaborate with you to model appropriate behaviour and empower students with personal safety strategies. We also build the capability of our staff to help them respond to student protection concerns. As I just mentioned, student protection concerns can be raised about the following people: parents, carers, other family members, other members of the general community, adults within the school community, for example, volunteers, staff members, other students, and the student themselves. Harm or inappropriate behaviour can occur at home, at school, and at other places in the community, such as church and/or extracurricular activities. BCE has processes and guidelines to promote safe and appropriate behaviour in our school community. This includes having clear expectations about how staff should act with students and how well as students should act towards other students. Most adults and students don't intend to harm or act inappropriately towards another person, but when it occurs, the reasons are often complex and there's no single or simple explanation. For example, stress, tiredness, or lack of skills or support can overwhelm a person and result in behaviour that may cause harm to others. It is important that we look out for each other and recognise the early signs of harm and inappropriate behaviour. When you report what it is that worries you, we as a community are better able to respond to the concerns and keep everyone safe. So, what is abuse? What is neglect? Well, abuse can include actions like hitting, shaking, punching, or using an implement to hit a child that results in physical injury and has significant emotional impact on the child, such as a persistent state of fear and anxiety. Constant criticism, belittling, or rejection of a child leading to a child feeling worthless and unloved. A parent or carer choosing to use violence towards a partner and or their child or other household members. An adult, teenager, or child using power or authority to involve or expose a child to sexual activity. Neglect includes actions like persistent failure to provide for a child's basic care needs, such as food, medical attention, or adequate supervision, which could result in significant developmental and emotional impacts on the child, serious injuries, or at worst, death of a child. Inappropriate behaviour by a staff member is behaviour by a staff member that is inconsistent with the Code of Conduct. Some examples include inappropriate use of physical intervention, such as using force or restraint, unreasonably refusing biological necessities, disregarding the emotional needs of a student, including shaming or criticising a student, intimidating students, such as shouting at them or threatening them, engaging in a relationship with a student that is or could be seen as personal rather than professional, personal communication with a student, not for educational purposes, for example, social media contact, personal emails, or other behaviours that might suggest favouritism. And finally, swearing at a student. The way BCE approaches student protection is outlined and guided through our student protection processes and guidelines, as well as the Code of Conduct. You can find these on our school's webpage and, of course, also on Brisbane Catholic Education's website. These documents outline our student protection reporting obligations, how we respond to concerns, explains the different types of harm, and outlines staff behaviours that are considered to be boundary violations. The main thing to know about our processes and guidelines is that they are focused on prioritising the safety and well-being of all students and ensuring fair and consistent processes followed to address concerns. Our processes and guidelines are supported by dedicated roles within the school that provide support to students, staff, parents and carers for student protection matters. These roles are called student protection contacts. As a principal, I am a student protection contact, and there is always a minimum of 2 others in our school. We actually have 3, Mr. Cronin, Miss Locke, and our guidance counsellor, Mrs. L. You can find out who they are again by looking at our website and looking at our student protection processes and posters across the school. So how can you help our students? It's very simple. If you see, hear, or feel something that's not right or unusual, and you're worried about your child or another student, immediately tell me or another student protection contact here at St Benedict's. If your concerns are about me, then please approach another student protection contact. Once you've raised your concerns with me or another student protection contact, there are clear pathways and processes for responding. Broadly speaking, once you raise these concerns, we will follow the appropriate processes and guidelines to address the concerns and ensure support is provided to relevant people along the way. For example, students and their families or relevant staff members. If the concerns raised relate to the behaviour of a parent, carer, or other family or household member, the Student Protection Contact Team will work together using resources available to us. The next steps can include actions like determining the immediate safety needs of the student, gathering further information, providing ongoing monitoring and support for the student, making referrals to appropriate support services for the student and or their family, and where appropriate, reporting the information to the relevant authorities, either child safety or the police, or both. If you want further details, please refer to our student protection processes and guidelines. If the concerns raised relate to the behaviour of a staff member, then the next steps can include identifying immediate supports for the student, ensuring the concerns are reported in accordance with the student protection processes and guidelines, gathering information including clarifying the concern with the student, their parent, and any potential witnesses. The principal will then determine the appropriate process and procedures to be followed, including assessing the boundaries that may have been breached by the staff member. Serious or complex allegations of staff inappropriate behaviour are managed in conjunction with key staff at Brisbane Catholic Education. The process also includes obtaining a staff member's response to the concerns. And depending on the seriousness of the concern, the principal or head of people and culture will determine the outcome, including whether any disciplinary action is necessary. The principal will coordinate ongoing supports for the student and identify strategies to support the staff member and advise parents and carers of the completion of the process. Research shows that traumatic events that occur in childhood are linked to chronic health problems, mental illness, and substance misuse in adulthood. Research also shows that having just one positive caring relationship in their life can substantially improve a child's recovery and healing from stressful life events. As adults, we are well positioned to keep an eye out for all students to ensure they feel valued and cared for, to help them grow into healthier and happy adults. We encourage everyone in our school community to be part of making our school a safe place. You may see something we don't, and by raising it, you may prevent harm to a child. Any student protection matter must remain highly confidential and should never become a topic of gossip and should never be spoken about freely with others. The Student Protection Contact Team in our school is committed to respecting the privacy and confidentiality of students, families, and staff members. Therefore, information sharing is limited to the appropriate persons and the extent of that is necessary. We know that sharing your worries can be challenging and you may have to follow up questions or want feedback. However, due to privacy, we may not be able to respond or answer all of your questions. But please know that the child's safety is always prioritised when responding to these matters. There's also a lot of support to help families, schools and students in the community. These are just some of the services available in our community. I encourage you to find out more about these services, share them with others, and access these services where appropriate. You are not alone when it comes to student protection. We can protect our students as both individuals and as a team. Thank you for being part of this presentation on student protection and creating safe, caring communities. I will continue to lead activities throughout the remainder of the year, particularly with staff, to help keep the safety and well-being of our students at the front of our minds continuously. I encourage you to come and ask me any questions you may have in relation to the important work we share in keeping our kids safe.